So are you able to hear me? Yes. Can anyone confirm over the chat? Yes, yes. Okay, fine. Let me. Okay, fine. We'll wait for 2 minutes, then we will start. Okay. Okay, fine. Meanwhile, I'll spin up my lab as well. Hi, Kiran. Hi, Rishita, Prasanna, Smiley. Hi, everyone. Here's my lab. So, yes, guys. So, how much count we have? Okay, let me turn on the lab. Hi, everyone. Hi, Lukman. Mm, EVE. Okay, start wipe this configuration as well as this. 2 minutes, guys. Okay. Okay, guys. So, welcome back to the Network Ninja with another live session. So, in today's live session, we are going to discuss about routing. The routing part we are going to discuss. So, how routing used to be work. So, what we need to do to how we need to configure the routing protocols, right? So, we'll discuss about in detail what is routing and how many types of routing protocols do we have, right? And we'll do the lab as well. So, how we can configure the lab. So, be so this is what our lab. So, let me share my screen so that you will see. Okay. Hi, Abrar. Yeah, I'm good, Abrar. How about you? See, yes, guys. Okay. So let me share my lab. Okay. So here I have a lab. So this is what the lab today we are going to be discuss. So before we discuss the lab, we will have a the theoretical session. What really we are going to be do, and how we are. So we will understand how the routing is going to be work in between different two networks. So for that, we have a document right here. So we have a the document for the routing purpose as well, right? So if you have any doubts, and you can message me, whenever you have a doubts, guys, do message me so that I'll respond to your messages as well, right? So cool. So before we Sure, guys. So, well, today, so we are discussing about the routing part, right? So everyone, so in our last session as well, we performed like a NAT, network address translation. What is NAT and how NAT used to be work. So hope you guys gone through with that video and you will get some clarity on that part, right? So how the NAT is going to be work. So basically, so in today's session, so the network ninja is going to be so deal about the topic is a routing. So how routing used to be work, right? What is routing? Okay, so why we required routing and how it is going to be work, that we are going to be discuss in this session. So if you stay in this session, right, so we will do the we'll discuss about the theoretical as well as we will do the lab as well, right? So generally, guys, routing is the process to forward the packet from one network to another network, right? So whenever we are going to do the routing, right, so we used to use the device router, the device router. So we all know that so router used to be work on L3, like the layer 3. It's a layer 3 device. So we used to have right. We used to have it used to work on the network layer of OSI model, open system interconnections. So the OSI model, open system interconnection, is having a 7 layers. On that 7 layers, so a router used to be work on the network layer, which means layer 3, which means layer 3. And what router used to be do? Router used to do perform the routing things, right? So router used to perform the routing things, and it used to identify the best path towards the destination networks, right? So once it get the routing information, so router used to maintain the routing table, and it is going to be verified whenever it send the traffic from one network to other network, right? So between the internetworking, it used to verify the routing table. If the route is present in the routing table, if the route is present in the routing table, then only the router used to be forward the packet from one logical network to other logical network. See, one side you are going to use the different network, the other side you are going to use in the different network. So if you see here in our lab, guys, right, so here we have a routers, multiple routers, right? Router 1, this is my router 1, and router 2, right, this is my router 1, and router 2 as well as router 3. So here we are going to perform the routing. So before we perform the routing, so we all know that we need to configure the basic configuration, right? The very first task is basic configuration, that I'll do here hand to hand, so that you will get to know how we can do the basic configuration. To do the basic configuration, we have the syntax and we know the syntax as well, right? So once you do the basic configuration, when you try to ping from this LAN network to any other LAN network, right? So here we have a 2.0, here we have a 3.0. So you did your basic configuration here, guys. Okay. So here you done the basic configuration, which means you configured the IP addresses and the host names on the respective devices. Here also you perform the basic configuration, and here also you perform the basic configuration. Consider this three is three different locations, and you did all the basic configuration in each and every location. Like this is this router in other location, this router is in other location, and even this also in a different location. See, when you try to ping from any of the user, right? So when you try to ping from any of the user from 1.0/24 network to the other network, guys, the routing is not going to be happen, right? The packet is not going to be sent, because the packet is going to be drop here in your default gateway. Packet is going to be a drop at your default gateway. So whatever the default gateway you configured on your LAN machine, right? So whatever the IP address we are going to be configured in the router's downstream interface, that used to become the default gateway for all our LAN users, right? All our LAN users. So there the packet used to be dropped here, because whenever this, like the consider this is your 1.10 machine which need to be communicate with this 2.10 machines, right? So the source IP will become 1.10, right? The source IP will become 1.10, and the destination IP will become 2.10. So if this packet receive on the gateway, right? So router used to check the routing table, so it will verify the routing table, guys, right? It verify the routing tables. If the router is don't have the route towards to this 2.0/24 network, this LAN network, then router generally used to drop the traffic. So that's how router used to be work. So before sending the packet, every time router used to be verify the routing table, whether do we have a route towards to the destination network, whichever the network the user is trying to be reached. So if you don't have a routing part, right? So you just did your basic configuration, you don't have any like a routing configuration here, right? You don't have any routing configuration between the devices, then definitely you will see that like there is a drop in the packet is going to be drop at your router itself. Even though if you try from here in this 2.0 network and 3.0 network, again the same thing is going to be happen, right? So that's how routing is very important. So before we start about routing, so we will discuss about like the types of routing. How many types of routing do you have like in the networking, and how we are going to be identify that which routing protocol it is, right? So that we are going to be discuss in a moment. So generally guys, in routing we have a three types of routing. So if you see in the routing we have a three types of routing. Routing we have three types. One is static routing. Static routing protocol, right? And the second one is dynamic routing protocol, right? The third one is a default routing protocol. So in networking, guys, right? Since from starting from your CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate, to the journey of CCNP, even if you go to the CCIE also, this is the same. This is the same routing protocol you will see. So in networking, we have only three routing protocols, like the static routing protocols, dynamic routing protocols, and the default routing protocols. However, see, so in dynamic routing protocols, this is again classified into two types, right? So this dynamic routing protocols we have here, right? The dynamic routing protocol, which is going to be classified into two types. One is IGP, right? One is IGP. IGP stands for Interior Gateway Protocol, right? This is the one, and the second one is going to be classified as a EGP. EGP stands for Exterior Gateway Protocol. So in dynamic routing protocol, so generally whenever you get the question in the interview also, so in networking we have like the types of routing protocols. So the routing protocols we have, right? We have three types of routing protocols. Three types of routing protocols. One is static routing protocol, and the second one is dynamic routing protocol, and the third one is default routing protocol, right? So again, the dynamic routing protocol is going to be classified into two types. One is IGP. IGP stands for Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. Likewise, EGP. EGP stands for Exterior Gateway Routing Protocol. So IGP protocols, guys, which are going to be run within the autonomous system, within the organization, right? So within the organization or within the autonomous system, and EGP is going to be used between the autonomous system. So we will understand here. So what protocols are going to be fall under the IGP, and what other protocols are going to form in the EGP. So here if you see like this, let me draw that. See, dynamic routing protocol, right? So in dynamic routing protocol, it was classified into two types. One is IGP, right? One is IGP, interior gateway routing protocol. The other one is EGP, exterior gateway routing protocol. So we have two types. It was segregated, right? So in IGP, guys, in IGP we have we have different protocols. So one we have RIP, routing information protocol, and we have the EIGRP, enhanced interior gateway routing protocol. Likewise, we have a OSPF, open shortest path first. Then we have a IS, intermittent system. So these are all the IGP protocols, interior gateway routing protocols, interior gateway routing protocols. So these protocols we are going to be configured within an organization. These protocols we are going to configure within an organization, right? Within an autonomous system. So here we have in EGP we have only one protocol, that is BGP. BGP stands for Border Gateway Routing Protocol. BGP stands for Border Gateway Routing Protocol. So here I'll give the abbreviations as well. RIP stands for Routing Information Protocol. Routing Information Protocol. EIGRP stands for Enhance Interior Enhance Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. OSPF stands for Open Shortest Path First. So likewise, IS stands for Intermittent System. So this is what the abbreviations of the all the protocols. So in BGP we have Border. BGP stands for Border Gateway Protocol. So in dynamic routing protocols, right? So that in routing protocols, we have three types of routing protocols. Generally, in routing protocols, we have three types. One is static routing protocol. The second one is dynamic routing protocol, and the default routing protocol. So you'll get the question in interviews also like this. Okay. So can you list down the types of routing protocol? So you need to mention so we have three types of routing protocol, right? Static routing, dynamic routing protocol, as well as default routing protocol. Then again you need to take this point. So the dynamic routing protocols are again divided, are classified into two types. One is IGP and the other one is EGP. So IGP stands for Interior Gateway Routing Protocol, right? And EGP stands for Exterior Gateway Routing Protocol, right? So IGP and EGP. So IGP is going to be work within the autonomous system, and the EGP protocol, which is the BGP, is going to be work, right? Different autonomous, between the autonomous system. So we discussed, right? The dynamic routing protocol is again divided into are classified into two types, right? So classified into two types. One is IGP. IGP stands for Interior Gateway Routing Protocol, and EGP stands for Exterior Gateway Routing Protocol, right? So here, guys, you can see in IGP we have this many protocols like RIP. RIP stands for Routing Information Protocol, and we have EIGRP, Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol, and OSPF, Open Shortest Path First, and ISIS, which means Intermittent System or Intermittent System. Likewise, in EGP, so Exterior Gateway Routing Protocol, we have only one protocol, that is a BGP, Border Gateway Routing Protocol. So this is about the protocols, guys. Okay. So without protocols, when you are without protocols, right? If you don't configure the routing protocol between the if you don't configure the routing protocol between the routers, then the routing is not going to be happen. See, if you have a consider there are two different organizations. So here you can consider router one. So router one is going to be connected towards your LAN here, and likewise you have a router 2, right? So here we have a router 2, and here also we have a LAN. So in router 1's LAN, so the LAN network you are going to be used like 192.168.1.0/24. So likewise in the router 2's LAN, we are going to be use 192.168.2.0/24, right? So generally, if you are taking this last 24 subnet, right? So like which class of IP address it is, guys? So can anyone give a like comment on the live chat? So which class of IP address it is? Which class of IP address it is? Okay, it's a class C, right? So here we have a like 192.168. So in IP addresses, we already discussed that even though we have a like the multiple videos which we already posted, so you should before learning the routing, right? So you should have an understanding of IP addressing. So the IP addressing is again important, guys. Do right. So do refer that videos and do try to learn that IP routing as well. Now, so if you have here like this kind of things, guys, okay, so if you have a two different setups, you can consider this is my Hyderabad office, right? This location is in Hyderabad and this location is in Bangalore, right? So when we try to connect between the router to router like this, right, you can consider any port. Okay, now here, guys, if you don't do the like you perform only the basic configuration here, right? You perform the basic configuration in Hyderabad office. Likewise you perform the basic configuration in Bangalore as well, right? So if you don't configure the routing in between, so whatever the routing we discussed, right, we have the three types of routing protocols. One is static, dynamic, and the default routing. So you haven't configured the routing protocol in between these two routers, right? So when your user, whoever sitting in the Hyderabad office and he's trying to send some data, or else you will in the destination site, consider this is your source. Consider this is your source and the Bangalore office is the destination. Here we have a user. That user is trying to be access the Bangalore office server, right? So when he's trying to access, right, the packet, the data used to be go to the default gateway, and the router is going to be verify the routing table. So as in the router routing table, we don't have the information of 2.0/24 network, the destination network. This is your destination network, right? 2.0/24. So what router used to do? So we don't have any kind of routing here. So this particular router used to be drop that traffic, like drop that packet. Even the same thing is going to be happen from here also. If the user is trying to be access from here to, right, so from this LAN to the Hyderabad LAN, so what is going to be happen, what is going to be happen? See, if there is a no routing information in the router 2, and the router 2 is not going to be forward that packet to the this organization. So that's why, guys, even though you did the basic configuration, what we are going to be considered as a basic configuration, so we are going to configure the host name on the particular devices, respective devices like router 1 and router 2, or Hyderabad office router or the Bangalore office router. Then we are going to configure the IP addresses and followed by the interfaces, whichever the interfaces you have, right? So once you assign the IP addresses here, and so here you are going to assign the gateway address, but still the data is not going to be communicate between from here from this LAN to this LAN because we don't have a routing in place. We don't have a routing intact. So routing is must and should. So either you can do any kind of any kind of routing. So as we discussed here, so we have a routing, right? We have a routing protocol. Just three routing protocols we have this much of routing protocols like static routing protocol and dynamic routing protocol and default routing protocol. You can learn like you can take any routing protocol and do configure that, so that then again you are going to be start communication. So likewise I'll go through here like in our lab also, right? See, here we have a lab, right, guys? Guys, here we have a lab. See, if you see, this is my consider this is my Hyderabad office, right? This is my Hyderabad office, and here we have a Bangalore office. The same thing what we discussed, right? So in the Hyderabad office LAN, I'm going to be take as a 192.168.1.0/24 network. So it's a class C network, right? And for the Bangalore office, I'm going to take the LAN, right, 192.168.3.0/24 network. So generally, whenever you are take dot 0/24, it's around you used to get the 255 IP addresses as a class C, right? So here we are going to be assigning the gateway interface, like the router's downstream interface, as a 1.1, right? And here also we are going to assign 3.1. till here everything is fine. So and we assign the followed by the interfaces. In this interface also we configure the IP addresses, and both are in the same subnet. It's not a slash 30 guys, it's not a slash 32. In slash 32 you will get only one IP address, it's a slash 30 actually. So I missed that. Okay, it's a slash 30, right? So in slash 30 you used to get like around two IP addresses, right? Two valid hosts you are going to be get. And right, in the two valid hosts you are going to be get, and you are going to be configure two offices. Like consider if you take this network, right? So 172 dot like 172.16.1.0 slash 30. So it is going to be start since from 172.16.1.1, and it will go 172.16.1.2 and 172.16.1.3. So whenever you see 0, that is your network ID, right? So this is your network ID. This is your network ID, guys, right? So network IDs are non-routable, right? So likewise, so here we have a, so the last IP address is going to be become your broadcast address. This is your broadcast ID or the broadcast address. So this is also not routable. So here we have only two valid IP addresses. So this is our valid IP addresses. This is our valid IP addresses, and these IP addresses we are going to be configured here like 172 one IP towards in the Hyderabad, like 172.16.1.1, and the 1.2 is going to be configured the other side, right? So this is what the lab we are going to be perform. So before we perform this lab, we will discuss static routing also. So we have three types of routings, right? So we have the static routing, we have a dynamic routing, right? So the static routing we are going to be discuss static routing protocol, static routing protocol. So this we are going to be discussed. Then we will jump into the lab and we'll do the lab as well. So hope you guys have a clarity till here. So if you have any doubts, do let me know on the chat, guys. Okay. So yes, Muzammil, it's a slash 30. Okay. And yes, it's a yes, Sheikh Myra, it's a class C IP address. Yes, Prasanna is also right, and Muzammil also right. Yes, guys, do let me know if till here if you have any confusion. Okay, do let me know, or else we'll see as we have the three types of routing protocols, right? We will take that. Okay, so these three types of routing protocol we are going to be discussed in this today's like the today's live session. So we are going to be discuss the static routing part. So we'll do this coming week. We will again we will have a like a YouTube live session. So on that session we are going to be discuss about the dynamic routing protocols and what is the disadvantage of the static routing, and where we are not going to be use on which scenarios it is difficult to use the static routing, that we are going to be discuss in a moment, like, right? So first in today's session we are going to be discuss like the static routing protocol. So we will do the deep dive and we'll perform the each and every lab as well. Don't worry about the labs part, right? So we are going to perform the labs and everything. We are going to perform the labs and everything, right? So one second, guys. Okay, I didn't get any question. So if you have any doubts or questions, do let me know. Okay, sure, guys. Then we'll sorry. So we'll discuss about the static routing, how static routing is going to be work. All good. Okay, Kirandas, all good, fine. And all good, all good, all good. So we'll discuss about like see the static routing, guys. So see, if you want to become a network engineer or the security engineer, you should have a knowledge about, right? So you should have a knowledge about this routing protocol. So uh, without having a knowledge, guys, without having a knowledge of routing and switching, you will not become a good security engineer or the cyber security engineer, because you should know how to build the infrastructure first, then you are going to be learn how to protect. So don't believe that if you learn this 35 hours of 35 hours of course and you are going to become a cyber security engineer, and if you join this 15 hours of course you are going to become a network engineer or the security engineer. These all are like dumb. These all are ever just this is not good way, and so you're not going to learn in 10 days or not in 12 days or 15 days. Fast track is always difficult, guys. So be learn one by one, right? So first start for, your career, like start learning from the CCNA. So here you will get the good understanding and the fundamentals things, right? So you will get the good fundamentals. So the routing protocols, you will understand what is really like the routing protocols, how the routing protocols are going to be work, right? So different types of routing protocols, even in the switching also. Here also we have a switching, right? So in the switching also, you mostly clear, like if you done your CCNA, guys, if you done your CCNA, right? So you might clear your routing and switching fundamentals. So you will have a good fundamentals. Then do jump. So whatever you learn. So if you want to learn the cloud things also, that's okay, fine. You can learn the cloud thing. If you want to learn the security side, you can learn the security as well. If you want to learn the firewall kind of things, you can learn that as well. So everything is going to be start in the networking since from the CCNA. So you should have a better understanding or the better knowledge of the CCNA. So if you have that, right, some to understand easily. Thanks, Mr. Pathan. Okay, so yeah, thanks for letting me know, right? Okay. So guys, so that's what, guys. So we are going to be do our like the static routing. So we will understand, we will do the deep dive. Okay, then so once we understand the things, right, so then we'll perform the lab as well. So let me take you to my the slides, so which I have created here. So I have the slides here. So this is what you are like routing, guys. Okay, the static routing. So we discussed, right, we have a three different types of routing: static routing, dynamic routing, and the default routing. So first protocol we are going to be discuss about the static routing, and we are going to learn about how the static routing is really work in the live infrastructure, right? So we have only 5 slides, so we'll discuss this. Then once we're done with this discussion, right, we'll do the lab as well. Okay, so let me take the slide like this slide, guys. Okay, so I'll take the snap of this slide, so I'll let you know how the things are going to be work. See, static routing protocol, right? Today we are discussing about the static routing protocol. So before we learn static routing protocol, we should know how many types of routing protocols we have. So if in interview also, if you get the question, just like list down the different types of routing protocols, you need to be inform them, or in like tell like this, like we have three different types of routing protocols, three types of routing protocols. These three types of routing protocols, like the first is static routing protocol, static routing protocol, and the second one is a dynamic routing protocol, right? Dynamic routing protocol, and the third one is a default routing protocol, default routing protocol. So we are discussing about this static routing protocol, guys. So once we cover this all, right, so once we're done with our session, and once we discussion, once we have a like so yes, Sai Kumar. So what are the things we need to be keep in the mind for answering the scenarios in the networking? Sure, Sai. I'll let you know. Okay, I'll let you know those things. So once we have a like in detail discussion on this, right? So once we done with the routing protocol, then we will discuss about that interview pattern as well. How the for the freshers, how the questions are going to be asked. For the experience, how they are going to be asked the questions. So we'll discuss about that, right? So this static routing protocol, so how it is going to be work? See, guys, static routes or static routing is going to be configured and maintained and updated by the network administrator manually. So so this is what the thing we have in the static routing protocol. So whenever you have this like router 1, and which is going towards your router 2, right? So here you will have a LAN network, and here also you have a LAN network. Now in the router 1's LAN, you are going to take, here you have a 1.0/24 network. This is your LAN network. Here you have a 2.0/24 network. So always take the normal network, so that you should have a good understanding on the configurational part and the concept wise. Okay, you can take any IP address whichever you want. Okay, so now, guys, so this will become my gateway for the router 1. So I am going to be assign here 1.1. So like this, this router 2's downstream interface is going to be become a gateway for this LAN users, right? So here we are going to assign 2.0. So if you assign here, so here we are going to take /30. So you will get here 1.1 and 1.2, like 172 dot subnet. 172.16.1.0/30 you will take. So you'll get two IP address. So one side you will assign 1.1, and the other side you are going to be assign 1.2. 2. So if you have this scenario, so what is the first point is going to be say static routes are configured and maintained and updated by the network administrator or network engineer manually, which means, so once you've done your basic configuration, then the first point you are going to do the basic configuration, right? So basic configuration. So once you do your basic configuration, then you need to start configuring the static route, right? The static route or the static routing protocol. First configure on the router one. Okay, which means, so if you want to reach this particular 2 dot network, so here you need to configure, guys, in this router 2, router 1, you need to configure this. So if you want to reach a 2.0/24 network, so the next hop or the exit interface is going to be become, so if you are going to be call as a next exit interface, this will become the exit interface, right? This will become the exit interface, and this guy will become the next hop IP address. So here you need to manually configure, like once you go into the global configuration mode in the router 1, so in the router 1 you need to specify that to reach 2.0/25 network slash 24 network, so you need to go to the R2. So that's how you need to be specify in here. Likewise, so when you are like here, right? So this router 2 will also don't know about 1.0/24 network, so that's why you need to specify here to reach 1.0/24 network, you have to go to the R1. So you need to specify in the router 2's configuration. So that is what manually configuration. So we need to first manually, right, as a network engineer or the as a network engineer or the network administrator, you need to specify, you need to configure manually on this respective routers, like the WAN facing towards router. So if you want to from router 1, right, so if you want to reach 2.0 network, then you need to specify the routes to reach here. Likewise, in router 2, from router 2, if you want to reach 1.0 network, 1.0 network from router 2, then you need to specify the route towards to this direction. So if, basically we discuss, right? So we know that the basic things, so router always take the decision based on the routing table. If you don't have a routing if you don't have a route in the routing table, then like definitely router is going to be drop that packet. Router is going to drop that packet, because the router is always take the decision based on the routing table only. So that's why as a network engineer or the network administrator, you guys has to be configured the route towards your destination manually, or else you have to be update the route information in your router source and destination router. So that is what the like understanding for the first point, guys. Okay, so the static routes are configured and maintained and updated by the network engineer or the network administrator, and the administrator should know the I destination network for configuring the static routes. For configuring the static routes. Again, the same example, guys. See, you have here router 1, right? So which is connected towards your router 2. Router 1 is connected towards your router 2. So let me explain here, so it will be good. See, here you have a router 1. So this is going to become your source, guys. This is going to become your source, and this Bangalore office is going to become your destination. 1.0 is your source network, and 2.0 is your destination network. So if you are going to configure here the static route, so you are going to be configured in the router 1 the static routing protocol. So you should know the destination network, right? You should know the destination network. So this is going to be become your source. This is going to become your source, and this is your destination network. So whenever you are going to pointing the route from this router to this particular destination network 2.0/24 network, so the this destination, this network engineer or the administrator, whoever sitting here and configuring, taking the this particular router with the help of SSL, secure shell, or the remote protocol, or else console also. So he has accessed this particular router and is trying to configure. He is trying to configure the static routes from here. Static routes from here. So when you are going to configure, when we are going to point the route towards the destination, right? So you should know the destination network. So to which network you are going to be point. Likewise, so if you point from here to there, then you should know this network information. And when you are configuring in R2 to reach 1.0 network, so you should know this destination network. So when you are going from this side, like R1 to R2, R1 lands to R2's LAN, then this side will become the source, and the opposite side or the remote side is going to become your destination, guys. Okay. This is your source and this is your destination. Likewise, so when you are going return traffic, when you are coming in a return direction, see if you are going from since from here to here, right? Like router 1's LAN to router 2's LAN. So router 1 LAN is going to become the whatever the LAN network you are going to be taken here, right? So that is going to become your source network. And the opposite side, like the destination side, the remote network is going to become your destination network. So likewise, if you are trying to like access from this LAN, office 2's LAN to organization like this LAN, so this will become the source and this will become the destination. So this network you should know before you configure the static route. To configure the static routing protocol, the network engineer or the administrator should know the destination network. And why? Because we as a network engineer or the normal like network administrator, we are going to be configure the static routes, so we should know how to reach the destination network. So if you don't know how to reach the like what is the destination network, so what network you are going to be using the destination end or the far end. Sometime guys, in some organization, so I'll tell you in the live scenarios things. So in some organization, the guys are going to be asked what is a far end IP address. So don't be confused. Far end or the destination, everything is same. So whenever you get the good experience in your live infrastructure, the production networks, right? So the terms and the terminologies are going to be changed like a bit different. So don't be panic or bother about those things. So but the standard thing is, since from where you are trying to be access, that is going to be become your source network, and where you want to be go, that is going to be become your destination, right? So the second point is saying that, so the network engineer or the administrator should know, right, should know the destination network information to reach from source to destination. So I'm going to be, this is going to become my source. In my source LAN, I'm going to be use 1.0/24. So likewise, so this is going to be become my destination, because I'm going to be configured the route towards this direction from router 1 to router 2. So here we are going to be use 2.0/24, right? So when you are going to be configured since from R2 to R1, then the direction is going to be become a return, guys. The direction is going to be become, so direction is very important. Even though so I hope you guys all know, right? You guys know about the ACL, right? Access control list, right? When you are going to learn about the ACL, so you are already working, so a few of the working professions also there. So ACL stand for access control list. Again, we have a standard ACL, we have a extended ACLs, right? So again, there is a again classified into different types like numbered ACL and name ACL. So whatever the ACL you are going to be configured, so the direction is very important, right? So which is in, which is out. So how the traffic is coming. So the direction is important. It is heading towards the interface or it is passing from the interface. So the direction important. So even the cloud guys also there, some guys. In cloud, you are going to learn that what is the ACL means. NACL, network access list. The, both are working same thing. If you learn in the firewalls, right, there we are going to be configured as a policies, guys. Okay, policies. Nothing is, everything is same, but you should have a like a basic understanding. If you have a basic understanding, then everything is same. You can correlate yourself in the production networks, right? So, chalo. The thing is, the administrator. So the static routes are going to be configured by the network engineer, and whomever are going to be configured the static route, he should know what is a destination network, right? And the administrative distance for the static routes is 1. The AD value, AD stands for administrative distance. AD stands for administrative distance, right? Administrative distance. So administrative distance is nothing but your trustworthiness, guys. It is going to be considered based on the AD value. Based on the AD value, it is going to be considered as a trustworthiness. So the static route AD value is 1. So we have a different protocols, right? There's three types of routing protocol: static routing protocol, dynamic routing protocol, and the default routing protocol. So in dynamic routing protocol, again we have a RIP, EIGRP, OSPF, right? And uh, okay, right, the other protocols we have, right, each and every protocol will have a AD value. So the routing protocols, the route selection process is going to be happen based on the AD value. So whichever the less AD value, whichever the routing protocol is having a less AD value, so that route is going to be select as a best route, guys. So whichever the less AD value, that route is going to be select as a best route. So I'll just take an example. Sorry. If you take any dynamic routing protocol, I need answer from all you guys. So we are like currently 20 guys are watching, right? So see here, the dynamic routing protocol. See, if we configure here the dynamic routing protocol, any of the dynamic routing protocol, consider OSPF. So in the same router, I have configured a static routing protocol to form the neighborship between the router 1 and router 2. Likewise, I have configured the OSPF, open shortest path first, right, in the both the routers, right. So once you configured this in the both the routers, so with the help of which router the routes are going to be propagate from router 1 to router 2? Can anyone let me know on the over the chat? I just want to see you what, like, what is your level of understanding. See, I configured here in router 2 static route as well as OSPF. Here also we configured a static routing protocol and OSPF as well. So this route R1 is going to be like, so R1 is getting the routes 2.0/24 network information, route information in R1, and in R2 you will get the 1.0/24 network information, right. But now I just want to know from you guys, so with the help of which routing protocol it is going to be get the routing information. So when you are going to check the route, so how it is going to be get, like from static route or the default route, guys? Sorry, static route or the OSPF? Yes, yes, Sheikh Myra and Suleiman, Khaja, Kiran Das, because it's take less AD value. Exactly, Kiran Das. Okay, so cool. Okay, so Pallavi static route, right? Pallavi static route. So it is going to be learn the route from the static route, guys, because the less AD value. So the static route AD value is 1, right? And the what is the OSPF AD value? Like AD value is 1 lesser than the OSPF AD value. Exactly. So what is the AD value? Muzammil, right? Champion. The AD value of the OSPF is 110. The AD value of the OSPF is 110. So generally, whichever the AD value is having a less AD value. Yes, I you should have a bit fast, bro. Okay, so whichever the AD value is having a less, that routing protocol is going to be select as to take the route to propagate the routing information. So in the routing table, guys, when you check, right, show IP route in the routing table of the both the routers, you will see that this route is you are going to be learn with the help of S. Here also you will see with the help of S. S stands for static. S stands for static. So that's how in the production networks we guys used to be like identify the issues, and that's how you need to be work, right. So chalo, then the second point, guys. So we understand the static routes are going to be configured by the network engineer or the network administrator manually. And to configure the static routes, the network engineer should know the destination network ID. Network engineer should know the destination network IP addresses, network or the IP related information. And the static route AD value is 1. What is AD value? AD stands for administrative distance. The reliability, which means trust. Reliability is what? Trust. So whichever the AD value is having a less AD value, so that route that is going to be more trusted. That is going to be more trusted. So that's why in a router, right? So this router is going to be connected with the other foreign router 2. So here we configure the static routing protocol, as well as OSPF, open shortest path first, like the dynamic routing protocol. But the static AD value is 1 and the OSPF AD value is 110. So whichever the less AD value, so that route is going to be trust as a more trustworthiness. So that's why this router is going to be considered static route, and it is going with the help of that it is going to be advertise the route with the help of static routes. It is going to be advertise the routes to the neighbor routers. So generally in interview you will get this question also for the freshers, guys. Okay, you will get this, definitely you will get this crash question. What is the AD value stands for? So the AD value stands for administrative distance, right? And so whichever the AD value, every routing protocol, even though it is a static, dynamic, default, so every routing protocol will have a every routing protocol every routing protocol will have a AD administrative distance. Based on the administrative distance, if you configure multiple routing protocols in a same router, so based on the AD value, it is going to be select which is the trustworthiness. Okay, so whichever the routing protocol is having a less AD value, so that routing protocol is going to be considered as a more reliable routing protocol. So this AD, guys, you will see the range of the AD is 0 to 255. This is not the really the static routing point, but you need to be remember that So in future when we have a, like other sessions or the other live sessions, there we are going to be discuss like the different routing protocols, you will see. So here I can see that there are few of the old guys are also watching. So what is the AD value for RIP, guys? What is the AD value for RIP and EIGRP? So OSPF you already posted, right? 110. What is the AD value of RIP? Khaja Sheikh. Looks like Khaja is in very farm today. Okay. And 20 EIGRP. Okay, EIGRP is having a two different values, right? You always mention in interview also 90 and 170. That is better. Okay, don't say only 90. Okay, OSPF, right? So the AD values, administrative distance are like administrative distance value is going to be start from 0, right? And it is going to be end to 55. So all the routing protocols, we have a static routing, dynamic routing, and the default routing, right? So this routing protocols, the AD values are going to be fall between from 0 to 255. When you have a the IP addressing session, I used to tell, right? So generally, so IP is going to be start from 0 and it is going to be end to 55. So likewise 0.0.0.0 and the last IP address what you will get, you will get 255.255.255, right? So this is the last IP address. So since from here to here you will get this, the IP is going to be start from 0 and it is going to be end at 255. So likewise the AD value, this you need to be remember, guys. This is not the static routes points, but again it is important for the interview. So whatever we are discussing, everything we are going to be discuss on the practical way and for the interview scenario basis. Okay, so this is again important, so you guys need to be remember that. So the AD stands for administrative distance and the static routing AD value is 1. So however the range of the AD values are, since it is going to be start from 0 and it is going to be end at 255, right? So we have a different routing protocols. Based on that it is going to be vary the routing administrative distance. Yeah. So the AD range is 0 to 255. Lesser the administrative distance is the higher priority, right? So we understand that. And a static route using a next an exit interface has an administrative distance is 0 and as an opposed to the default AD to the static routes. This is very important point. I know few guys know about this and few guys will don't know. See, whenever you are going to configure a static route, guys, right? Here we'll draw the topology, right? So if you are going to configure the static route from between R1 to R2, here we have a 1.0/24 network, and in R2s, see, I'll take a bit time because see, I'll take a bit time, or else guys you will not understand. This is very important point. Do watch carefully. Okay, so in router 1's LAN I have 1.0/24. In router 2's LAN I have 2.0/24 network. So now I'm planning to configure a static route from the direction is from router 1 LAN to router 2's LAN. So I need to communicate, I need to send some data from router 1's LAN to router 2. So when you are going to configure the static routes, right, so there we have some like other parameters as well, things as well. See, you can use either exit interface. So this will become the exit interface. For example, if you are going to send some data, right? So the router is going to be sent from this interface, right? This will become your exit interface. Do remember this. This is your exit interface, right? This is your exit interface. And if you don't, even though in the static routing protocols you will have an option, you can mention exit interface or else are next hop IP address, and these packets are going to be travel like this, and this is going to be land from here to here, right? So this interface is going to become your next hop IP address, next hop address or next hop IP, right? Next hop IP. So the two things are very important. Two things are very important. One is exit interface and the second thing is next hop. So exit interface means if you are configuring the route, right? Like this in router one, you are in router one privilege mode. If you want to configure anything, you need to go into the configure terminal, right? Configure terminal. So once you are in a global configure terminal, then they are going to be like, so you will see like this R1 in a bracket, like as a config. Here you are going to see that, like, so here you are going to configure a IP route. So to configure the static route we have a syntax IP route that we will discuss. So in the last you will get here, like either you can use the exit interface, exit interface, or you can use the next hop IP address. Next hop IP address. So if you are using the exit interface, guys, this is as a exit interface, then the AD value is what? The administrative distance is going to become a 0, right? If you are going to be use the not the this one, you are going to use this one, next hop IP address, this one, then the static route AD value will become the 1. So generally, theoretically, you will say that in the interviews, the static route AD value is 1. Okay. But if in some case scenario, see, they are going to ask you what is the AD value for the directly connected links. So do let me know, guys, what is the AD value for the directly connected link in the group chat. And meanwhile, I'll just have some water. Do let me know on the group chat. So what is the AD value for the directly connected interfaces? Very good. I have only few chat response, guys. Zero. Okay, very good. Kiran Das, Myra, Suleiman. Yes, Kiran, that's the right answer. Zero only. See, don't. And Sai Kumar, yes, zero. Right, guys? So this point also we understood very clearly. See, understanding is important. Don't think that the class is going a bit lengthy. Okay, it should be lengthy because our intention is you guys has to be get some knowledge, right? So we don't want to be waste your valuable time. So you guys should get some knowledge, right? So we discussed till here the static route. So an exit interface is only the function and option point to point, right? See, when you can take the exit interface, so the exit interface is only option on a point to point link, as there is only one possible next hop devices. See, if you have here like this, guys, router 1 which is connected towards router 2, then you can use the exit interface. Like when you are going to configure the static route, you can use the exit interface. That is okay, fine. If again there is a router 3, again there is a router 3 which is connected to here. So here we have a 1.0/24, here we have a 2.0/24, and here we have a 3.0/24, right? So now what you are going to configure, you are going to configure exit interface or the next hop to reach this. So since from 1.0 network, if you want to reach a 3.0, so which interface you are going to be configured, like exit interface or the next hop IP address? In this scenario, which like exit interface or the next stop scenario, which is better? Exit. No, Muzammil. So exit is better if you have a P2P link. P2P, see, point to point, when you are trying to reach from 1.0/24 to 2.0/24, then it's fine, you can take like exit interface, right? But for the thing, so when you are trying to reach from 1.0 to 3.0 here, right? So since from R1's LAN to R3's LAN, so always configure the next hop IP address, so that is better, because the routing packets will not go here and there. So the next hop IP is always better in this scenario. So this is what the basic or the advanced points of the static routes, and this is what the functionalities of the static routes. So static routes are going to be configured, and static routes are going to be configured and maintained by the network engineer or the network administrator, and the network engineer should know the destination network to configure the static routes, right? And the AD value of the static route is 1. The administrative distance or the AD value of the static route is 1, and the AD stands for administrative distance, and the range of the AD is going to be start from 0 to 1, 0 to 1. And the AD value, the point directly connected interface AD value is again 0. So whenever you have a the connectivity from between a two routers only, router 1 to router 2, at that scenario, so you can use the exit interface, or else if you have that you are trying to reach from router 1, like hop 1, there is in between there are 2 3 hops. So at that scenario, always use the next hop IP address, so which is going to be help you better in the production network, because generally you will not have a point to point connectivity everywhere, right? So you will have a point to multi point connectivity, right? So at that scenario, you definitely required a next hop IP address. So now we are going to understand the configurational syntax. Now we are going to understand the configurational syntax for the static routes, for the static routing protocol. So to do the static routing protocol, guys, first we should have what we need to configure. We need to configure the basic configuration, which includes the IP address assignment, IP assignment on the respective interfaces, followed by the interfaces. See, if you have here router 1, so one of the interface, like consider this is your gig 1/1, and the other interface which is going towards your downstream traffic 1/2. So here you decided 172.16.1.1/30. Likewise, in the downstream interface you have decided 192.168.1.1/24. So first you need to assign the IP addressing part, right? So once you clear your IP addressing part, which means the basic configuration, like configuring the host name on this particular router and everything, whatever you need to be configured on the basic configuration part, you done this. Then assign the IP addresses on the followed by the interfaces. So once you assign the IP addresses, right, then in the second part you need to start configuring the static routing protocol. So why we generally configure static routing? To reach from one network to other network, right? So here we have a router 1. Likewise, in my other far end network I have a router 2. Here I have a router 2, right? So here we have a LAN, guys. So this is our LAN, local area network. Here also we have a LAN, local area network. So now my users wants to they want to communicate from this LAN to like the router to LAN. So whatever the IP address I am going to use here 2.0. So my few of my users are trying to send some data over this the WAN connectivity. So here we need to configure the static route, guys. So here we need to configure the static routing protocol, right? To configure the static routing protocol, we should know the configurational syntax. We should know the configurational syntax, and the configurational syntax is this. See, once you are in a global configuration mode, then you need to perform ip route and the destination network, right? Destination network and the destination subnet mask. Then you can use exit interface, or else you can use the right next hop IP addresses. Okay, you can use either you can use the exit interface. This is one of the like syntax. You can use this scenario when you have a point to point links, or else you can go with this this configuration, like IP route, destination network ID and the destination subnet mask and the next hop IP address. You can use any of this based on the like situation whenever you have. So based on this configuration, guys, based on this syntax. So what is the syntax? So if you have a syntax here, what we need to take, like, so in this situation here we are going to be consider this is our source network, right? So here we have a router 1. In router 1, we have a LAN. So in this LAN we are going to be use 192.168.1.0/24 network. Likewise, in router 2's LAN we are going to be use 2.0/24 network, right? We have a two different networks. We have a two different networks. If you want to enable the communication between like router 1's LAN to router 2's LAN, we decided to going to configure the static routing. So as we discussed, we perform all the basic configuration like the IP assignment on all the followed by the interfaces, like towards the LAN interface and the WAN interfaces. Then we need to configure the static route, right? So the very first command is I'm in a router 1. I'm in a router 1. So here we need to configure IP route towards where the destination network. Let me take this pen. Okay, I'm in router 1's configurational mode. Now I'm going to configure the syntax is IP route where you want to reach destination, right? So I'm in router 1 means this is my source where we have to reach router 2's LAN. So what is the destination of the destination network of the destination organization, right? So IP route, the destination network ID is what? Here we are going to mention 192.168.2.0. And what is the subnet mask of the destination? /24, right? So here we are going to mention 255.255.255.0. Now you can use, now the thing is going to be changed, guys. So now you can use either exit interface. So you are in router 1, right? You are in router 1. So this interface will become the exit interface. Either you can take this interface exit interface, or else you can configure the next hop IP address. So this this whatever the IP address you are going to be assigned here, right? So that IP address is going to become your next hop IP address, guys. next hop IP address or next hop address. So you can use either anything. So if you are going to use this interface, right, so you just need to mention the type of the interface and the number of the interface, which means consider here we have a gig 1/1. So you simply you can mention gigabit ethernet 1/1. That is fine, it is going to be work. So whenever your users are trying to be, whenever your LAN users are trying to be access this 2.0/24 network, the router the packet is going to be hit to the router, and router with the help of this exit interface, the router is going to verify the routing table, and in the routing table you will see this route as a yes, right, and the router is going to be move the packet from this exit interface, or else you can go with this next hop IP address also, that is also fine. So the next hop IP address, whatever the IP you are going to be decide here, see consider here I'm going to assign 172.16.1.1/30. So here I'm going to assign 1.2/30. So here we can assign like next hop IP address is 172.16.1.2. This is the next hop IP address. So you can either assign the next hop IP address, or you can assign the next hop IP address, or else you can go with the exit interface. The same thing. See guys, once you configure the route from this direction to destination LAN, if you don't have a route, a return route, generally in industry it used to say as a return route, guys, route return route, do mention, do remember this point. If you don't have a return route from R2 to R1, how to reach this 1.0 network, then your communication is not going to be happen. Even though if you have a router, you have a route here in this router 1, and your user is connected here, when he tried to communicate, when he tried to access the 2.0's infrastructure, the packets can go, but the return traffic will not come, because you don't have a return route, you don't have a return route towards 1.0 network. So that's the reason you need to configure the same thing in router 2, right? So whenever you are in a router 2, right, the commands are similar, guys. So if you know how to configure from router 1, if you know how to configure the static route from router 1, then it is quite easy. Even in the router 2, the return route you can configure very easily. The same thing again, you are going to mention IP route, right, and the destination network ID. So this time, so you are going to be configured since from here, right, so this is become your source, this will become your source, and the destination, this network will become your destination. So here you are going to change that, like the destination network. So we are trying to go like this, right, in this direction. So this will become our source, and 1.0 will become our destination. So you are going to mention here 192.168.1.0, and the slash 24 subnet mask, you know that 255.255.25.0, you can mention that here. And either you can call the exit interface, or else you can take the next hop IP address. So here this side we have 1.2, so definitely the other side you will have 172.16.1.1. So whatever the take, what is the takeaway point from here? So the from since from the previous slides, so we already discussed, right, guys, we discussed, right? So to configure, like who is going to be configured the static routes, the network engineer or the network administrator are going to be configure the static routing protocol, right? To configure the static routing protocol, the network engineer or the administrator should know the destination network information, right, to configure. See, in the syntax we have a destination network ID and the destination subnet mask, and the exit interface are the next hop IP address, and the static route AD value. The static route AD value is AD equals to, the static route AD value is 1, and AD stands for administrative distance. AD stands for administrative distance. Whichever the routing protocol is having a less AD value, that is a higher priority, right? So less AD is the highest priority, guys. So that routes are going to be installed in the routing table, and router is going to be considered that route. So this is what our theory for about, like theory and the practical things which we discuss. Now we can perform the lab, guys. So hopefully you understand, right? So we have in routing like in finally we will summarize this what we studied. But if you see my slides, right, so here we have so we mentioned the like so we know both the commands. Either you can configure with this command, like the static routes, you can configure the static route with the help of above command, or else you can use this command as well. Now once you configure the static route, guys, okay, once you configure the static route, how you are going to be verify the static routes. So to use with the help of this command verification. So verification guys, one more thing. So few guys are like the freshers or the new guys are there, right? The verification is going to be do in privilege mode only, right? Privilege mode. So if you are in a privilege mode, you can perform the direct command show IP route. It is going to show you the routing table. If you are in a configurational mode guys, right? If you are in a configurational mode and you need to perform the again the verification command, then you can add just only do show IP route. Don't be panic or confused. You can perform the show command since from the privilege mode. If you are in a privilege mode, either in a router or switch, everything is fine. If you are in a router or switch, right, you are in a privilege mode, then you can perform show IP route command to verify the routing information. If you are in a global configuration mode, right, you just need to add a do, because in the global configuration mode it is going to be add do show command guys. So this is what the verification part, right? This is what the verification part to the configuration as well. Now let me take the other slide. If you have like, yeah, what is the advantages? This is important thing. So you will not understand if I say you will not understand the advantages and the disadvantages of the static routing, because you guys don't know about the dynamic routing protocols, right? So once you studied about the dynamic routing protocols, then you can easily correlate that what is really the advantage of the static routing and what is the disadvantage of the static routing, right? So but however, you can I have listed few of the advantages and the disadvantages, which is really helpful in the interview when you are trying to attend the interviews. So the advantage of the static route is, the first is it is a secure. Why it is secure? Because it doesn't exchange its routing table. See, you need to be become manually. See, consider here you have a router one, right? In interviews also you need to give the answer in this scenario guys, okay? Don't give just static routes are secure. So he'll ask you why it is secure, right? So consider here we have a 1.0/24 in between two routers. Here we have a 2.0/24. So I configure the static route in this direction, towards this direction, right? Here we have a configured a static route. Even from router 2 to router 1 also we configure the static route. So the communication is going to be happen between all the routers. Then all of a sudden, so you got that there is a one more router. Here you have a router 3, and which is connected from R1 as well as from R2. R1 from hmm, sorry Muzammil, I didn't get your question. Okay. Okay, it is possible in interface do show. It is possible in interface mode. Yes, you can perform in interface mode also. You can perform in do commands in the interface. If you are in interface, I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you when we are doing the lab, Muzammil. See, in this scenario, you configured only static route the direction towards from R1 to R2, and return route also you configured from R2 to R1 only. Once you connect this route, right, so whatever the routing information is there here, it is not going to send to R3, and even R2 is not going to send the R3, because here also you need to configure like the, here also you need to configure like you need to manually define your routing part, or else it is not going to be become your neighbor. But instead of in dynamic routing guys, you just need to introduce yourself like directly connected information, then it is going to form the neighborship. But in the static routing, you guys as admins, the very first point of the static routing is that you guys need to be configured manually. The network engineer or the administrator has to be configured the route towards the destination network manually. Then only it is going to be have the communication, even though we should have a written route. See here, so I configured the route towards R1 to R2. Likewise, since from R2 to again R1, I'm going to be configured the route here. So then only the communication. So we have a user, few LAN users here, right? So these users can able to access this the remote site destination servers, or the communication can be sent. So that's the reason static routes are very secure, because it's not extend the routing table. So the routing table exchange process is going to be happen only in the dynamic routing protocols only. Dynamic routing protocols. In static routing protocols, we network engineer has to be defined manually. The network engineers has to be define the manually who is going to become your neighbor. So if I don't configure the routing part towards this R3, he'll not become my neighbor. Only the R2, because I already configured that neighbor, like the route towards to the R2. Since from R2 I have a route towards to the R1, so we both can communicate. Since from R1 lands to R3 lands, I can have a communication because we have a routing table, we have a route in place, so everything is going to be happen. But the R1 LAN user will not able to communicate to the R3's LAN because we don't have a routes or we don't have any direction, right? Routing part in the route. So generally we know that router is always going to check the routing table, right? If the route information is not present at the routing table, definitely it is going to drop the packet. And reliable, why it is reliable? Because we if we reliable, you can consider yourself you are the reliable and the AD value is very less, right? The AD value is 1, and that's the reason it is going to be reliable. And faster because it has a predefined routing table. Because see, so these points you are going to be understand when we have like, when we have the communicate, like when you have the understanding of the dynamic routing protocol. So definitely static routing protocols, guys, static routing protocols will have a like a predefined routing protocol. It's a fast only because it will not broadcast, like it will not multicast the, it will not do the multicasting kind of thing, and then it will not advertise the network so to form the neighborship and everything. Here in the static route everything is predefined, right? So we as a network engineer we already defined that. So you need to be send the routes. If you want to reach from one network to other network, you have to take this particular route, right? So that's the reason it's fast compared to the dynamic routing protocol. So no wastage of the bandwidth, updates are not shared between the routers. See, if you're going to configure the dynamic routing protocols, guys, hmm, so in the dynamic routing protocols, if you have like this, right, R1 and R2, R1 and R2, try to understand here. So I know that you guys you will some guys will have a understanding about the dynamic routing protocol. If you configure any dynamic routing protocol here, any dynamic routing protocol, RIP, EIGRP, OSPF, how both the routers are going to form the neighborship? It is going to form the neighborship with the help of hello messages, right? So it used to exchange the hello messages between each router 1 and 2. It is going to exchange the hello messages with the help of multicast address based on the routing protocol you are going to be configured. Then it is going to form the neighborship, and then it is going to exchange the routing information whatever the backend networks you have, right? So in router one's behind backend network and router two's behind backend network, it is going to be exchanged with each other, right? So that is what, like, in the dynamic routing protocol we have this process, but in the static routing protocol there is no action routing between routing exchanges between the routers, because we already predefined that, right? So that's what I mentioned here. So because of that, there is no bandwidth wastage, no wastage of the bandwidth. Updates are not shared between the routers, but in the dynamic routing protocols we used to send the updates. But in the static routing protocols, the routers are not going to share, like, extend the update. So that's the reason it is going to be reduce the wastage of the bandwidth used in the small network. See, this point is fine for the interview, but in interview you can say that it is going to be used even in the data center also. Static routes are going to be used in the data center. Some cases what will happen, right? You will have a like a core layer, distribution layer, access layer. So if you want to point a route towards your like core switch from your access devices, generally you should have a route in your if even in the data center scenario also you used to have a static route. Static route is very important, okay? And it is going to, you are going to be see in the production networks everywhere, you are going to be see this static routes. So you can mention in the interview also it's in users in a small network. But even though we have some kind of scenarios, if you have a the core net, like, or the distribution switch, since from that switch we have a the other switches or the routers are connected. So if you want to point the route towards our default gateway or towards our the destination network, definitely we might have a route, right? We might have a route towards the destination network, or else it is not going to be work, or else it is not going to be work. Okay, granular control on how traffic routed. So I told you, right? So we have a granular control here, because to whom we are going to be communicate, to whom we are going to be communicate, we can decide ourselves. So whichever the router we need to send the data, so towards that direction we can configure the static routes. And we'll list down few of the disadvantages as well. What is the disadvantage of the static routing means? The no IP update, no automatic update. So in dynamic routing protocol, you will see the updates like this, but because consider if this link got down, which means the neighborship between the router 1 and the router 2, if this link got down, right, so the neighborship between the router 1 and router 2 is going to be break. Okay, so once the link was up, again these guys are going to form the like automatic neighborship. That automatic updates are not there in the static routes. Need of destination network ID to configure the static route. Yes, that's correct. The static routing, in the syntax itself we have, right, the destination network IP route space, destination network ID, and the destination subnet mask. Either you can go with the exit interface or the next hop IP address, right? So we required to configure whichever the direction you are going to be configure the static route. So for that, whichever the direction you are going to be configure the static routes, for that direction we definitely required a uh, that remote destination IP addresses. And administrative work is more. See guys, if you have a two routers, if you have five routers, that's okay, fine, you can do that, the static routing. So in your infrastructure, if you have a like 100 routers or 100 devices, between 100 layer 3 devices you are going to form the neighborship, then how you are going to configure it? So you need to configure 100 routes, right, between each and every device. So it is really going to become a very difficult task in the production networks. So that's our reason in the production networks, guys. I'm telling you again and again, production network, because I'm the production engineer. I used to work on the production, right? So I have plus years of experience. So that's the reason I'm telling you. So even in the production network, you will see the static routes as well as the dynamic routes also, because so we have to reduce some kind of like the administrative work in the production network. If you are going to configure all the static route towards all the your direction, that's not going to really work. That's not really going to help in your production infrastructure, right? And no dynamic fault tolerance or link goes down. So that's what I told you, right? So here it is going to exchange the hello messages and the dead messages. If the remote device is not respond, right, in the dynamic routing protocol, it is going to like break the neighborship. But that scenario we don't have in the static routes, and impractical on large networks. See, that's what I told you, right? So in the large network you will definitely see the static routing protocol as well as the dynamic routing protocol, any of the protocol from the dynamic routing protocol. So we have a EHRP, OSPF, BGP. Majorly, see, if you have all the Cisco's devices, if you have all the Cisco's devices in your infrastructure, then definitely you are going to see. If you have a Cisco's devices, then definitely you are going to see that EHRP will be configured. EHRP was configured in your production networks between all the devices. If you have a multi-vendor, this is again one more important point, guys. Please do note down. If you have a multi-vendor devices in your infrastructure, like a firewall from Palo Alto, routers from Cisco, and switches from the Fortinet, and the access points are the WLCs from Aruba, Ruckus, somewhere, etc., etc. So in this scenario, you'll definitely go with any of the open standard routing protocol. EIGRP is a Cisco's proprietary. It is going to be support only on the Cisco's routing protocol, Cisco's devices. So that's the reason every organization will have a OSPF. So which means if you are using in your data center or in your organization completely Cisco's devices, then definitely you will see the EIGRP routing protocol as a dynamic routing protocol in your infrastructure. If you are using a multi-vendor devices, then at that scenario you are going to be like you are going to see that OSPF is going to be configured in your infrastructure. So this is what the slight difference. So because every routing protocol will have some different functionalities that you are going to be learn in upcoming classes. So this is what the advantage and the disadvantages, guys, like advantage and the disadvantage kind of thing. So hope you understood well, right? So what we discussed till now. So before we do the lab, we will summarize the things. We just discussed about the part of like what is routing, right? So routing is a process to enable the communication from one location, one logical network, or one geographical location to the other geographical location. To perform the routing, we require any layer 3 device. So generally we are studying about the CCNA, right? So we'll discuss about like to perform the routing we require a router. So router used to be work on the layer 3, right, network layer of the OSI model. So OSI layer will have it 7 layers, right? So in OSI layer we have 7 different layers, which you already know. So routing, we know about the routing. Now how many types of routing protocols we have? So the types of routing protocols, guys, we have static routing protocol, dynamic routing protocol, and the default routing protocol, right? So the dynamic routing protocols are again going to be classified into IGP, interior gateway routing protocol, and EGP, exterior gateway routing protocol. So IGPs are going to be used. Do remember this point. This is again very important when you are going to be discuss the dynamic routing protocols. So IGP, interior gateway routing protocols, are going to be used within the autonomous system. What is autonomous system? A stands for autonomous system. What is autonomous system? Autonomous system, like a collection of router under a common administrative distance. See, you guys has to be ready with each and every point, guys. Don't think that once you done your CCNA you will get the job. Once you learn your firewall you will get the job. That's not going to be happen in industry. You will see like a big crocodiles, right? So that's the reason you need to be familiar with all the terms and terminologies, technologies. Give you 100%, definitely you'll get the, like, definitely will be jump into the IT, definitely you'll get the job in the IT network security as a desktop engineer, anything, right? But you should have to give 100% focus, guys, right? So IGP stands for again interior gateway routing protocol. These protocols like RIP, EIGRP, OSPF, and ISOS. This routing protocols you are going to be used within the autonomous system. Autonomous system stands for like a collection of routers under a same common administrative device, like this. So you will see the autonomous systems is like this. So here you will have a router, which router is connected to the other router. So this you will see in the BGP mostly, right? That then you will understand what is IGP. So likewise we have EGP. EGP stands for exterior gateway routing protocol. In EGP we have only one protocol, that is nothing but BGP. BGP stands for a border gateway routing protocol. In BGP again we have, it is classified as a IBGP, IBGP, and EBGP. IBGP and EBGP. So BGP is going to be used between the autonomous systems, guys. Okay. Then we understand about how really we are going to be do the static route configuration. So when you are going to do the static route configurations, right? So you should know the destination network address. So first thing we have to do the basic configuration on both the ends. So once you configure the basic configuration, if you try to communicate from router 1's LAN to router 2's LAN, that definitely you will face the communication is not possible, because the communication is going to be a drop. The communication is going to be drop. It's not going to be work, because we don't have a routing in place or intact. So that's the reason we discussed we have a three different routing protocols, that three routing protocols. So we are going to be use the static routing protocol. With the help of static routing protocol, we are going to be configured from R1 to R2 and R2 to R1. So both the directions we are going to be configure the route, right? In the both the direction we are going to be configure the routes, forward route and the return route. So to configure the static route we learn about the syntax as well, right? The syntax is what? The syntax is IP route, the destination network ID, and the destination subnet mask. Either you can use the exit interface, or else you can use the next hop IP address as well. So anything is going to be work fine. Anything is going to be work fine, guys. So this is what, and even though we discuss about the advantages, right? Advantages and the disadvantages of the static routes. So if you guys want to do lab, I can perform the lab, or else I already uploaded the lab in my, right, in my YouTube channel. If you want to go through with that, that is also fine, guys. So what you are going to be do? So you want the lab, or should I do the lab, or else you can go through with that lab as well. So it's the same topology which I updated here, right? The same topology we have, the same topology, guys. Same topology we have configured there as well. So I updated the video. So if you want, do let me know on the chat. So if you want, really want to do the lab, then I can perform the lab. I don't have any issue. Or else you can go through with that lab as well, the existing lab which I upload. So I can heard from you guys, like, so Muzammil or the other guys, can you let me know what to do? So if you are okay with the lab, then we can perform very fastly in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Or else, right, we can take the questions if you have any questions. So which one you want, like, can we perform lab, or we'll check with the video? Okay, Sai Kumar, sure. But other guys, like, do we have here, like, I see Pallavi, okay, Sai Kumar already updated, like Muzammil. What is Pallavi? What about you? So I can't see the other girls, the boys. Kiran Das, okay. So yeah, I can see Kiran as well. So you guys, do you want me to configure the lab, guys? If you want, I can do the very quick configuration. So just allow me 2 minutes. I'll do the configuration. Okay, nothing to worry, because there are few other new guys are there, buddy. Okay, so because they might have some issues, like how to configure and all, right? So generally, guys, this is our router. So in this topology, right? In this topology, I'm going to configure the. Before that, let me start the C. Okay, I'll start these devices. Then we'll perform the lab. Let's start this. This. Okay, fine. And I'll start this router. We'll start this. I'll do quickly, guys, because you can do practice in your side as well. But the thing, see, I have taken the snapshot of this lab. So for your practice, guys, I'll do the lab from here. Okay. So between this router 1 to this router 3. So in router what's LAN. So in this LAN, we are going to use 192.168.1.0/24 network. In router 3's LAN, so we are going to be use 3.0/24 network. So the router's downstream interface, in this particular interface we will configure 1.1, and that 1.1 is going to become a gateway for all our LAN users, right? So same thing is going to be happen here as well, right? And in the basic configuration, first we will assign the IP addresses, like so on this interface, fast ethernet 0/0 and this fast ethernet 1/1. So I'll assign the IP addresses on these interfaces. Then once I configure the IP addresses, then I'll do the static route configuration. So when I do the static route configuration, I'll let you know. So let me turn on, I already turn on the devices, right? So let me spin up all the devices. Like I'll take this device. It will take some time, guys. Router 1. So as we know, right, router will have a six different modes, guys. Six different modes, right? So the first mode is setup mode. So whenever you try to access the very first time of the your branded router, so you'll definitely get this setup mode, right? Here you need to type yes or no. So I'm going with the no, because, right, please yes or no, no, right? So because I know how to configure the CLI command, so better is always go with the no. If you go with the yes, right, it is going to be asked like, okay, let me will take, guys, don't. Okay, so fine, I'm in router 1. If you see here, show IP int brief. So guys, let me, okay, see here, show IP int brief. So we have three different interfaces. All the interfaces are in a down state, right? So we don't have any IP address. So what I'll do, I'm a privilege mode, right? So I'll do configure. See, I don't want to do again and again configuration. I'll tell you one thing, okay? So how in the production networks used to be do. So how the in production network scripts used to be prepared. So which are the interfaces? I'll just configure this, okay? I'll else do one thing. So FA0/1/0, right? So I'll configure just this interface, and I'll take the notepad, guys. See here, I pasted, right? So we know the syntax, right? So whatever you need to configure first, you need to go to the configure terminal. Then so whichever the interface you are trying to be configured, you need to take that interface faster than at 0/0. So what IP address, if you prepare this notepad, right, it is going to be help you in your CCI exam as well, because in CCI you'll not get much time, right? So do prepare the lab in a notepad, the configuration syntax, right? So once you prepare the configuration syntax in the notepad, you can easily copy and paste, guys. That's what used to do in the CCI engineers in the labs infrastructure, right? See, I'm in a global configuration mode. So now I need to configure this particular interface FA1/0, so which I already taken here. So what IP address we decided? 1.1/24, right? So to assign the IP address, syntax is IP space address 192.168.1.1. Then the subnet mask 255.255, dot 255.0, right? Then by default every physical interface will be down, so I am going to perform here no shutdown, then exit. That's it. This is what I need to do on the LAN interface. So this is my LAN interface config, right? The same thing I'm going to do in the WAN interfaces also. I am going to copy this guys one more time. Here I'm going to type. So this is our router one, right? Let me router one, I'll mention here RTR1. This is our router one configuration, guys. Okay, so this is my WAN. Now I'm going to do the WAN side configuration. So what is the port number here? FA0/0. I just need to modify this. And what IP address we decided here? 172, right? So let me remove this, like 172.16.1.1 slash 30. We will go with the slash 30. What is the subnet mask of slash 30? Now this is again task for you guys. Do ping in the message. Do send the message on the group chat. What is the subnet mask? So should I update here, or you guys can ping? So what is the subnet mask for slash 30, guys? Still I'm waiting for the answers. What is the subnet mask for slash 30? Looks like you guys are sleeping. Okay, 252. Okay, so this configuration also done. So same thing, guys. I'll not do anything. I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll just copy router one's configuration. Clear. And here I'm going to paste Control B. So here I'm going to change router 2. What is the interfaces in here? Let me down this. Okay, what is the interfaces in router 3, right? So in router 3, we are going to assign 3.1. So interface is FA1/0 again. Okay, fine. Subnet also same. And what is the WAN interface? FA0/0. So here I'm going to assign 2. So this is what my basic configuration. I'll just copy and paste. See here, I just copy. Even though, yeah, better for your understanding, I used to keep like this. Okay, I'll just copy this. Control C. I'll put. I'll I'll take my router one. See here, this is my router one. That's it. I done with this. Then the other interface. So what is my WAN interface? This is my WAN interface configuration. Again, I'll take this and I'll go here. That's it. Okay. So do check now. Exit. Uh, what is the command to verify? Show IP int brief, right? So if you see here, so both the interfaces are up. So that's how, guys, in really in the when you are going to do the CCNP or CCIE labs, right? So that's how it used to be. Okay, so now we'll take a router 3. In router 1, the basic configuration is done. So I'm in router 3, right? So this is my router 3. So what we decided the configuration, this is what the configuration, right? So even though I can remove this, see, if I remove this, I can go in a single line, just copy and paste. It is going to be work for you guys. See, I'm in router 3. I just copied and paste, exit. Now if you see, right, show IPINT, come on, show IPINT brief. See, all the interfaces are up, everything is fine. So that's how we used to do in the live infrastructures, guys. That's how we used to do in the live infrastructure before we do the configurations, right? So we used to prepare the we used to prepare the configurations templates, right, to perform the changes also. So you definitely should have a knowledge on the how to prepare the templates and everything, right? So then only you are going to be uh, so you are going to be have like good understanding, guys. See now, so this is the pieces, right? So as we discussed, we configured our static routing, right? So we discuss as we discussed, we done our basic configuration, right? So the basic configuration, which means, so I done the basic configuration on this interfaces, on this interface, right? And in router 2 also, router 3 also, I done the IP address assignment here and here as well. Now, so what we will do, right, in this PC we will assign this IP address 1.10 and slash 24 1.1. The same likewise in this PC1. So we will assign 3.10 and 3.1 is a default gateway. First, once we assign the IP address, we'll try to ping to the default gateway. We'll verify the things. Here also we will try to ping towards our default gateway. So once the default gateway was done, right? So once the things was cool, right? the things was good till here. Then we will try to communicate from this laptop to this laptop, like with the help of like this. See, we can send the communication. We'll see whether it is going to be work or not. So to do that, first I'll assign the IP address to this machine. What is IP? This is our VPC, guys. In EVNG lab, you will get this VPC. Do try to install that. So if I check show IP, we don't have IP address. So I'm going to assign IP space. Like what is the address? We decided here 192.168.1.10/24, and the gateway is 192.168.1.1. Just hit enter. So it is going to be configured for me the IP address and the subnet mask gateway. If I check now show IP, so you will see that here IP and subnet mask is this and the gateway is this. Do try to ping to gateway 192.168.1.1. No, I ping wrong. Ping space 192.168.1.1, right? I missed that earlier. See, now we are able, we have a communication, guys. We have a communication since from our laptop to our default gateway, right? So we done this. We assign the IP addresses for this router one's LAN machine, and we have the communication, right? So since from here we are able to reach to our default gateway 1.1 IP address. The same thing we are going to assign the IP addresses here as well. So once we assign the IP addresses, right? So once we assign the IP address here, then we are trying to reach to the default gateway 3.1. Let's see what is going to be happen. So this is our VPC, right? So let's open the VPC. So here we don't have a IP address. Show IP, right? So we don't have a IP address. So to configure the IP space 192.168.3.10, here we decided /24. The gateway will be 192.168.3.1. So just hit enter. So it is going to set up a IP address for you guys. Okay, show IP. If you type this, okay, cool. Do ping to the default gateway 192.168.3.1. So we will have a communication. So we are able to reach, guys. So here you need to understand. So I haven't performed till now. I haven't performed static route, right? I haven't performed static routing or static routing or static route. You can mention anything. So why I need you guys to be give a bit focus here. See, since from here we assign the IP addresses, like this is what our default gateway, right? So our LAN users are going to, our LAN users, right? My LAN users can able to ping to my default gateway. Even this LAN users can also able to ping his default gateway. So now we need to verify that. We need to cross verify that. If we try to ping from this 1.10 machine, like the source IP will become 1.10 and the destination IP will become 3.10. Can this communication is going to be happen? Is this communication will work? Like is the communication that the data, can we transfer the data between both the machines? Can we transfer? We'll check with, right? Can we if I send some data from this machine to, can this is going via like this? Let's see. I'll open this PC and I'll show the IP addresses also, don't be confused. Okay, and I'm going to open VPC1, right? So what is the IP address of this? To verify that, show IP in this particular. Okay, so since from here when I try to ping space 192.168.3.10, let's see what is going to be happen. What it is saying, it is down, right? So that you are getting the TTL, destination is unreachable, destination host is unreachable. When I try to ping my gateway, right, 3.1.1, I'm able to ping. But when I try to reach the destination machine, it's not going to be communicate because we don't have a route. If you want, you can do this as well. Okay, you can perform the trace route also, but still it is not going to be work. Okay, why? Because we don't have a routing in place. So let me tell you how to do the routing now. So now I'll tell you how to do the routing. This is again a small task. Okay, the static routing, how we can configure the static routing. See here, guys. So you are in router 1, right? So once you are in a router 1, so this LAN network will become your source because you are trying to configure the static route from router 1 to router 2, this direction, right? So this network will become a source and this network will become a destination. So the what is the syntax? Syntax is IP route and the destination network. What is the destination network? The destination network is this, like 3.0 and the destination subnet mask is slash 24. Either you can use this interface fa0/0, or else you can use the exit interface. I'll use exit interface. So this is what I'm going to configure in router 1. So let me do quickly. Okay, so I'll take router 1. So what is my router 1? This is right. So let me verify, do IP int brief, show IP int brief. So I'll assign the host name as well, guys, or else we'll get confused. Like host name RTR1. Now let me configure the IP route. IP space route, IP route, right? If you use this, it is going to tell you, right, destination prefix. What is the destination network ID? IP route, right? IP route destination network ID is 192.168.3.0. Then if you use question mark also, it is going to ask you what is the destination subnet mask. So the destination one 255.255.255.0. Okay, clear. And if you use question mark here, guys, it is going to take you, see what is a, it's really giving a law like multiple options. So either you can use the exit interface like fa0/fast ethernet 0/1, or else you can assign the IP address as the next hop IP address, which is 172.16.1.2. Okay, so this is what the route which we configured towards the direction from R1 to R2. So if you want to verify the routing table, the command is show IP route. So if you perform show IP route, here you will see the route. So what is the meaning of this route? So S stands for static. You will see here the legends also. Okay, so S stands for static. And so since from R1 router, if you want to reach 192.168.3.0/24, so the AD value is 1. Okay, because it's a static route, and you have to go via 172.16.1.1. So once you reach here, guys, so once your packet reach here, I'll tell you, do understand here. So once, if your user 1.10 user is trying to reach 3.10, right, this packet will come to the router. So router used to check the routing table. When the router check the routing table, right, when the router used to check the routing table, so what he is going to be see, so the router is going to see this route in the routing table, right? I have the route. Which route? I have the static route, guys. I have the S stands for static route to reach 3.0/24 network. To reach 3.0/24 network, I have to go via 192 sorry 172.16.1.2. So what is my via? So this is the via, right? 172.16.1.2. So the router used to send the packet to us to this interface. That's how the communication used to be work. But see, you configure the route towards this direction, right? From this router to router. Now also, if you want to try to ping, guys, again the communication will not happen. See here, 1.3, 3.10, if you try to ping, right, so this time what you are getting ICMP sequence timeout. Okay, earlier what you used to get, you used to get the unreachable destination host is unreachable. There is a difference between these two. We will have a session on this as well. But when you are trying to reach, right, which means what we did, right, so we configured only the one direction, we configured only at one direction. So that's why your packets used to be go since from here, from this machine to the packet, the request packet is going towards to this machine. Okay, based on the ICMP. See, ICMP ping mean ping. What is ping is going to be used? Ping is going to be used ICMP, right? In ICMP, you will see ICMP request and ICMP reply, right? ICMP request and ICMP reply. So ICMP request packet is going, but this PC is not getting the ICMP reply packet. This PC is not getting the ICMP reply packet since from here. Why it is not getting? Because we don't have a return route. We don't have a return route towards to reach to this particular 1.0 network. So once I configured here in router 3 the return route towards to reach 1.0/24, then you will see the communication is going to be happen. So that's how interviewer is going to be ask you in, even in interview also, guys. See, I have a routers between two different routers, right? So when I check in router 1, so I did the configuration static route pointing towards router 2. Okay, static route pointing towards a router 2. Okay, but when I try to ping from the user, whichever the user we have in a LAN, so when we try to ping, right, so it is not going, the ping is not working fine, the communication is not working fine. So at that scenario, you need to tell that the interviewer, okay, so when you try to ping, right, so the what is the output exactly you are getting, the first thing. And the second thing, so you need to ask that if the communication is not working fine, so you configured only the forward route. Do we have the return route to reach the same network from other foreign router? So that we need to verify. So do verify the routing table of both the routers first, and do verify, do you have like the destination network, whatever the destination network you taken, right, whether that network is you configure correctly or not. So we configure the one direction, right? So let me quickly configure the other direction as well, you will see that. Okay, show ip int brief, show ip int brief. If you see, show ip int brief, if you see here, this is our router 3, right? So I'll quickly configure, guys, because it become very lengthy session. Okay, so what I need to do here, so configure terminal ip route to where to reach 192.168.1.0, and the subnet is 255.255.255.0. The destination, the next hop ip address is 172.16.1.1. So I'll just hit enter, right, and exit. I'll save the configuration, write memory, or you can mention like this, write memory also to save the configuration, everything is fine. If you check here the routing table, show ip route, see you have the route. Okay, so if you want to reach, s stands for static once again, guys. If you want to reach 1.0/24 network, you have to go via 172.16.1.1. So we have both the way, both the routes in place. Now if you see, earlier we don't have a communication, right, from vpc1. So if you hit enter now, you can see the communication, because the forward route as well as the return route is very important, guys. Do like, see, do remember that if you don't have a routes in both the direction, right, since from source to destination and destination to source, then it is not going to be work properly. So you have to be configured. So what is the ip address of this pc? If you want, you can verify, show ip. So this pc is 1.10, so I am able to ping from 1.10 to 3.10. So if you want to verify the cross communication, again that is also okay. Go with this pc, what is the ip address? This pc's ip address is 3.10. If I try to ping, since from here 192.168.1.10, it will work fine, it will work fine. So the communication is happening. So you can reach like in this subnet ip addresses, right, we have 1.0 means you can reach like till 1.0, 1.1 to till you 1.254. So this is what your static routing lab, guys. And I'll tell you one more thing, I'll tell you one more thing, practical thing. Okay, so this is my router one. Okay, at one router one. See, in the general production network, we will not able to see. This is our lab, guys. So see the practical thing I'm going to tell you, but you guys are going to be drop. Okay, it's fine. It's up to you. See, in production networks, so we will not run this command. So we'll run this in some time. Show IP route. So if you run this command, right, you will get the hell number of output, right? So that's why what we are going to be use a show ip route, we are going to use a static. So if you use this route, right, you are going to see only the static routes, guys. Show ip route, with the help of that command you are going to see only the static route, whichever the static routes if we configure. So here we configured only one static route. So with the help of this command, show ip route static, we are going to be learn this static route. And one more thing, see, you don't know what is a network, what is a route is configured in the production network, right, what route is configured. So if you want to know that, right, so how you are going to be identify. So in production network, guys, show ip route, if you configure, if you type like this, and you don't know how to go 3.1, right, so if you type here 192.168.3 dot, you can give 10, just hit enter. What it is saying, to reach a 3.10, okay, a routing entry for 3.0/24 is there. Okay, noun via static. So it is learning via the static, this 3.0 network, and the distance is 1, metric is 0. So if you want to reach this 3.10 network, you have to go via this route. So we have the route. So that's how we used to be identify in the production networks, guys. So how this route is learning, whether it is a static, whether it is a dynamic routing protocols, any other special routing protocols, right? So even from here also, since from router 1 you can ping 192.168 3.10, you are able to reach, see. And one more thing I told you, right, this one, MTU, the maximum transmission unit is 1500, guys. Pallavi and Rishita. So you can see that show IPINT brief. If I type here, right? If you check this interface, show interface, just type here. So here you will see this MTU, maximum transmission. Every interface will have a MTU, a maximum transmission unit 1500, right? And the status of the line status and the line protocol, that also you are going to be see. And since from when the last input and last output was happened, everything is there, but you just need to give some focus, guys. So if you do some focus, you'll definitely become a network engineer, and that too a valid network engineer. Okay, so do revise the video and do check the video as well, and you will get some quality information. See, I'm open for, okay, I'm open for the questions now, guys. If you have any other questions, just let me know regarding the static routes. Other things we'll discuss, or else we can wind up the sessions. Yes, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. So we done all the routing configuration, routing path, right? So the routing related things. Hi, yes, hi everyone. Yes, guys, do you have any doubts till here, till the static routing? Till the static routing, any doubts? Do let me know. We'll discuss on this part. I'll try to explain you guys. No doubts. Thank you so much, Muzammil. No doubts. Any other guys? Any other guys will have a doubt? No doubts. No doubts. With the top fans. So today's top fans. Yes, guys. Any doubts? So, okay, guys, then fine. Thank you so much for joining Network Ninja. Hopefully, you guys are clear. Are you all like the networking doubts? You guys don't have any doubts, right? And if you have any doubts, just do let me know and the comment section as well, right? So, if you have any doubts, do let us know. Let me wind up the session. This you will get in the YouTube channel. Okay. Okay, Sai Kumar, thank you, sir. We enjoy the session. Thanks for spending time for us. Thank you so much, Sai Kumar. Okay. Nope. Yes, Kiran, Arishita. No, sir. So, okay. So, no doubts. Everyone is fine. Everything is fine till now. Okay. So, what we will do, we will wind up this session. Do revise your session once or twice. If you have any doubts, do reach out me via the chat. Right. And let me do one thing before we go. Guys, my chat is somewhat glitchy. Okay, sure, Prasanna. Thank you. Okay, no doubts. Okay, access to this feature don't have. Nice. Sure, guys. Then thanks for joining Network Ninjas the live session. So if you require any other topics on live on the other topics, do let us know on the chat, right? So we will try to give the quality content for you guys. Okay, and so I don't think so any doubts for you guys. So everything is going good. Okay, and fine. So, any other doubts, guys? I'm okay to take the doubts. Okay, the interview related things or the how the interviews are going to be, how the questions are going to be asked for the freshers. That is also we are okay to take up that questions as well. Right? No. Okay. Fine. So, do you want to share your interview experience, Sai Kumar? We are okay with that. If you want to share, you can share. Okay. Recently, a few of our guys has recently attend the interviews, and the news is good only. They got the good news at the good feedback. So hopefully, so Network Ninja once again coming to the form. Okay, so hopefully we will get good news in 1 week. Okay, guys, then thanks for joining Network Ninja. If you have any doubts, and do let us know on the chat. And if you really want to hear from us on the any other topics, like through the live or the one-to-one session, then we are okay with that, and we will be available, right? So do ping on WhatsApp group or over the chat, so that we will take up your questions if you have any doubts, and do let us know on which topic you are trying to be listen from us. And if you want the interview kind of support, like the questions or answers, or how the interviewer is going to be asked the questions, and how the things are going to be work in the production network, any information related to the production network as well, do reach out us. And we have the working professions, working on the Network Ninja. Okay, thanks. Yes, Syed Abrar, thank you so much for joining the live. So we have the working professions with us, and so not only myself, we have the other guys also, other teammates as well. Even they are also like very familiar with the technology. So we have a variety kind of like knowledgeable guys, like the technical hands-on experience guys in routing, switching, security, as well as the cyber security, right? So as well as in the infrastructure wise maintenance, wireless kind of technology, so VPN specialist, right? And thank you, yeah, thank you, buddies. So we have a different kind of guys with us. They join with us, and interesting engineers, and they can deliver the session, the live sessions. So you just do your work, like do revise the class, and do revise the YouTube video whichever we uploaded, right? So it will come you like this video will be uploaded in 10 minutes, and do watch that. If you have any doubts, do comment on the group chat, like sorry, in the chat section, and we will definitely try to answer you guys, right? So thanks guys, thanks for joining Network Ninja. Will next week we'll come up with a new live session, and do let us know on the comment section, guys, on which topic you wants to be here from us, so that we will take that topic, or else we will take the next session we are going to be take like based on the NAT. Previously last week we have done the session, right? We done the live session. On that live session we discuss about network address translation. So I was covered there the static NAT, right? So static NAT configuration, the verification, I showed you how the NAT translation is going to be happen. If you don't do the NAT in the production networks, right, the private IP addresses are not going to be routed over the internet, and so that the ISP guy, whenever he see the private IP address on the request, it is definitely going to be a drop on the over the internet, right? So that's what happen if you don't perform the NAT. And so the very first type of the NAT, we have different types of NAT based on the vendor also. See, if you do the NATing, if you are trying to do the NAT on the Cisco's device, that there is different nomenclature. If you want to do the NATing on the like the other vendors, like the other OEM, original equipment manufacturers, right? So the other OEM, they have the different NAT concept. Like the concept is same, guys. If you learn the CCNA, right, the concept wise it is same, but the nomenclature is different. So here you are going to see in the Cisco, you are going to say like the static NAT, dynamic NAT, and the PAT, right? So if you are going to do in the if you are going to uh, like do the NAT in the other OEM devices, there we will have a different kind of setup, but that we'll discuss. Like you will see sometime like Uton NAT, Hibernate NAT, and PAT, right? A dip, a dynamic IP and port. So based on the vendor, it's going to be vary, guys. But we perform the we perform the static NAT, but so due to some technical issues that day we haven't performed the dynamic NAT and the pad. So hopefully tomorrow or day after tomorrow we are trying to be take that session as well, the live session be available. If you want that topic, do comment on the group chat, okay? So or else if you want any other new topic, do let us know, so we will be available, and we will take the session on that particular content. So, so that's what from my side. Okay. Thanks for joining Network Ninjas, the live demo session, right? Live session. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.